Okay, so let's talk double standards. After the right-wing outrage against groups Kneecap and Bob Villan last week, a writer for The Spectator called Rob Liddell wrote an article titled "And Now Let's Bomb Glastonbury." On GB News, a guest said people claiming benefits should be starved or shot. Frog-faced fascist fucker Farage once said he would pick up a rifle if Brexit wasn't delivered, and a County Durham Reform Council has previously said 1.9 million Muslims should be nuked. How are these any less incitement than Bob Villan calling for the death of the murderous IDF? The IDF, who, it was confirmed in an Israeli newspaper, using soldiers' first-hand accounts, was told by officers to open fire on unarmed civilians at aid distribution centres. There have also been statements from ex-IDF soldiers that they used Palestinians as human shields and even sent them into potentially booby-trapped areas ahead of their own soldiers. But it doesn't seem to matter how many war crimes or how much genocide the Israelis commit or how many arrest warrants are issued. No one in power in the West seems to be able to bring themselves to call it out. There seems to be more objection from some Israeli citizens than from our own government. The BBC has even chosen not to air documentaries that show Israeli behaviour in Gaza in a bad light. It's taken Channel 4 to show some balls. Once again, Keir Starmer finds himself on the wrong side of public opinion. He's obviously not reading the room when it comes to domestic issues either. Since when did holding up a banner protesting against a genocide get pensioners arrested with a possible 14-year jail term, while Nazi supporters feel emboldened enough to throw seagull salutes at violent rallies? And why are the so-called proponents of free speech so silent? It's also why he's had to back down on the winter fuel allowance and the benefits cuts issues, but he's still failing to properly tax the mega rich. And it's why MP Zara Sultana has left the Labour Party to start a new party with the old Labour principles at its heart. Whether it's successful or not remains to be seen, but it does mean Stara has to take it into account more than just the right-wing opinion pieces. They've got a job on their hands, with the right-wing press already labelling them as Islamist and hard left, so the next election may well be less about the Tories versus Labour and more a choice between an oppressive, fascistic right-wing fighting for billionaires, the Tories and Reform, and a compassionate, more equal society offered by left-leaning parties like the Lib Dems, the Greens and this new party. We already know what the Tories were like after them being in power for 14 years. Austerity for the masses, £1 billion COVID contracts for their friends, and Reform is shaping up to be even worse. One of their 5 MPs is a convicted criminal who's just resigned after it came to light companies he ran illegally took some of that COVID money, allegedly. And remember, 75% of their MPs are multimillionaires, with new figures showing that man of the people Farage received nearly 100,000 in gifts, as well as raking in nearly £1 million from side jobs on top of his MP salary. An MP who doesn't hold surgeries for his constituents because he says he was warned by security that there were fears for his safety, even though it's denied by the Parliamentary Department. A tactic now being repeated by one of their councillors, Darren Crafty Wank Rhymes. Look it up if you don't know. An MP whose voting record is one of the worst in Parliament, even on issues he claims to care about. Someone whose lies aren't called out by the establishment here. In fact, minutes of a BBC meeting have revealed they plan to promote reform to boost their ratings. And we've already seen this by the amount of coverage they get on current affairs programmes relative to the number of their MPs. It recently took the Prime Minister of Albania to debunk one of Farage's claims, which was repeated by our media with no fact-checking at all. And facts are important if you don't want a Donald Trump-style government. I know it seems like all governments are the same and people are looking for something different, but at least choose something different that's going to be working in the interest of the majority, not the 1%. I'm off to listen to What a Fool Believes by the Doobie Brothers, while I think about what reform voters are falling for. If you enjoyed this video, a like or share would be appreciated. Want to see more? Why not subscribe? Comments welcome.